Okay, I'd like to call this meeting to order. This is the regular meeting of the Leonard Village Council. Today is January 8th, 2018. I hope everyone had a happy holiday season. And before we get into the heart of the meeting, I wanted to take a moment to thank a lot of our friends and neighbors in the village who have been out on in the coldest weather, shoveling snow, running snow blowers, doing everything to try and keep the neighborhoods walkable. Larry assures me he's going to finish it all up here tonight or tomorrow.
Tomorrow.
Are you the one doing it, Larry?
Down by me down there.
I mean, I really appreciate it. I can really tell you, I really appreciate it.
Dan Rowe does it, Mark Olson does it, Bruce Whitaker does it. Other neighbors do other stuff.
Bunch of guys in town, they just take a section and go.
Yes, I do appreciate it.
Dan Sotheby does it, did I say him? Dan does it?
I knew they did.
Yeah.
Just
At some point.
where the Pioneer Trail is next to that sidewalk.
Yeah.
I did it, I've done it a couple times this
You
year.
used to do it, you had a four-wheeler, didn't you?
Yeah,
We don't have any kind of equipment to.
I was gonna
do
say-
sidewalks.
not for sidewalks.
Okay.
Well, we did have, but it kind of got
Yeah.
destroyed.
They don't last forever.
Yeah.
We don't now.
We don't.
No, I said.
Okay.
Did get some equipment.
So with that, if everyone would stand for the Pledge of Allegiance and the presentation. Pledge of Allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Dear Heavenly Father, we ask that you be with us and guide the decisions that we make. May they be harmonious for the benefit of all in the village of Leonard. In your name we pray, amen.
Amen.
Okay, we have a roll call for attendance of the council.
President McDonald,
Here.
Trustee Sotheby is here. Trustee Almoranti, excused. Trustee Hoffman,
Here.
Trustee Kennedy.
Here.
And we'll note for the record that Clerk Cindy Grosskopf is excused and Treasurer Judy Verse is present. Council received the minutes of the December 11th meeting. Are there any questions, changes, or corrections?
I have a correction.
Okay.
Under motion by Mrs. Sotheby, where there's all the adjustments in the center, it says decreased pavement markings, it's $8,500. It's just a typo error, but just so you, it's not 85,000,
Right.
it's 8,500.
It's just a comma on the wrong spot.
Right.
Are there any other amendments? If none, a motion to approve the minutes would be in order as amended.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the minutes as amended.
I'll second it.
Okay, all in favor of approval of the minutes as amended, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, please say no. Okay. Council has before it an agenda. Are there any questions, additions, deletions? If none, a motion to approve the agenda would be in order.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the agenda as presented.
I'll second it.
Questions on the motion? Hearing none. All in favor of the motion to approve the agenda as submitted, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, please say no. Treasurer's report. This would be for the month of December.
Yeah.
It's behind us. Past year. So, are there any questions or amendments, changes? If none, a motion to approve the treasurer's report would be in order.
I move we approve the treasurer's report.
I'll second.
Any questions on the motion? Hearing none, do we have a roll call, please?
Yes. Trustee Hoffman,
Yes.
Trustee Kennedy,
Yes.
Trustee Sotheby, yes. President McDonald?
Yes. Okay. Moving down to accounts payable. Council received the bills for the month of December. Are there any questions regarding the bill? If none, a motion to pay the bills in the amounts stipulated on the agenda would be in order.
I'd like to make a motion to pay the bills in the amount of $7,032.69 for general, $5,038.52 in the major, and $704.50 for the local.
I'll support that motion. Are there any questions on the motion or the accounts payable? Hearing none, we'll have a roll call to approve the payment of the bills for December.
Trustee Kennedy?
Yes.
Trustee Sotheby, yes. President McDonald?
Yes.
Trustee Hoffman?
Just,
Okay. The next item on the agenda is public comment. This is an opportunity for the public to address the village council. We ask that you be brief and to the point, and that if you're here for business, under new business or old business, you'll have an opportunity to speak at that time, if you would. So does anybody want to address the council? Mr. Bivens?
I'd like to ask for an extension to the letter that I received. I'm assuming it was this past Saturday. It was postmarked until the next meeting, which is next month. So that way my lawyer has a chance to also look at it, please.
I don't have any objection to that. We don't need a motion, but he would like it in the minutes that they made the request, and I have no problem with that.
Okay.
So that is until...
February 12th.
Okay.
Okay. Yes, Cindy?
The snow thing.
Okay.
I don't understand why Cooper Standard is piling the snow up right by the sidewalk. You cannot get down the sidewalk because they got a mound.
In front?
Yes. They don't clean their sidewalk.
I,
I mean, I understand a lot of people don't, and they're supposed to be, but
you're right. And
they certainly can't.
just for the common knowledge, it is the homeowner's or property owner's responsibility to clear the sidewalk. It's not the village. That's why I among many, appreciate the people that
I do too.
do more than they have to. I can, I'll look into that.
I'm sure, it's their company or, whoever
Yeah,
does their
right.
snow, but don't
I'm sure
put it
it's-
right there.
I'm sure it's correctable, so,
Yeah, I figure it is, but better
Okay.
coming from the village than me.
okay.
Thank you.
You're more than welcome. How about you, Wyatt, anything? Okay.
He loves his money.
Yes.
That's what he wants to say.
Brief and to the point, okay? Please?
Wow,
I just want to repeat it.
I didn't even do anything, I'm already being attacked. Look at this.
No, that's not an attack.
Wasn't? All right. I came to the November meeting and I heard a bunch of people say they'd like to see some commercial uses going on in this village. And so I went home and I researched some things. And I knew about this in the past, but I just kind of let it go. I guess I can't. This is our master plan that we're in right now. And I'm going to read you what the commercial area says. And this was done in 1990, approved in 1991. It says this is for village commercial. This land use category is designed to satisfy the need for retail and service uses. The plan does not indicate additional commercial growth in the village. There are several reasons for the approach. This is our planning commission stating this. The preliminary census counts from the 1990 census gives the current population of the village at 357 residents, with the continued decline projected through the year 2010. Well, in 2010, our population went to 403, so we went from 357 to 403. That's not a decrease in my opinion. This population is inadequate to support any retail internally within the village. However, the village could strengthen the retail commercial activities in adjacent communities. I'm embarrassed by that. Also, the existing retail in the village satisfies the day-to-day needs of residents. Other retail needs are met by nearby commercial areas. Another reason is the village residents would like to maintain and enhance their existing character as a small rural residential community and limit commercial growth. That statement should not be in there unless we did a vote of the people, and I don't think we did. I don't recall it. That's what we're under right now. The existing commercial uses around the crossroads will be retained. The appearance of the area in general should be cleaned up, and any required improvements to buildings should be made. The landmark the mill to east of Elmwood at the railroad crossing will be the only commercial use outside of the area. I hope the new master plan isn't saying this. If we don't get some growth in here and get some income to help us sustain this town, it's gonna fold up. It's just a matter of time. We've got room.
Dave, this is an opportunity to address the council, not the public. Please get to your point.
I think that we could accommodate some more commercial and some more industrial in this town, which brings in the best taxes. We've got our residential that seems to be in good shape. And basically, I hope that the master plan is not saying the same thing. That's what I'm here for.
Okay. Okay, thank you. Anybody else? We'll pass that along to the planning commission.
I already sent them all this stuff.
Yeah.
They were gonna send it to you.
Yeah, they've done that.
Okay.
Okay, moving along then to new business. Council, the planning commission recommended at their December meeting that the village adopt the amended language for the zoning ordinance to eliminate the creation of new public roads, new private roads, I'm sorry, and that it maintains the legality of existing private roads and protects them from, they're not considered non-conforming or anything. I passed their language on to the village attorney, and he made a few indications of corrections, or not corrections per se, but language that would tighten it up so that it remains an enforceable ordinance. And they recommended, the planning commission recommended an inclusion or amendment of the zoning ordinance to include this language. Once the village council approves the language, the village attorney will incorporate it into the existing ordinance, and new sheets will be exchanged in the book for the existing, to replace the existing language. So this would be ordinance number 1 of 2018. And there was a public hearing held on the 21st of December here at Rowland Hall for a public comment. So,
Can I ask why? I mean, that seems, why no more private roads? That seems so trivial.
because they were actually, we've been quite liberal with private roads. Most communities in the area haven't allowed them. Addison Township ended them in 1992. They're problematic. If the neighbors don't have good relations and won't form an association, then they fight over who's going to maintain the road. The village gets a black eye because we don't maintain private roads. And even though residents, when they buy on a private road, they know they're buying on a private road, either they don't get a good explanation of what the requirements are to maintain them, et cetera. So we've decided as a village that it also puts the burden of creating public roads on the developers rather than making it a low-cost get in and get out type of situation where they throw in a gravel road of certain quality, minimal qualities, let's say. So that was what drove, and that was an initiative started here at the council level. And we asked the planning commission to look at it. They did, and they agreed that it was time for a change as well. You're welcome.
Can I ask a question about that? How does that affect us now as a village? I mean, I didn't know that there was a public meeting in December 21st, so sorry for my ignorance not knowing it, but how does that affect us, or how does it help us, I should say, now as a
Well,
village?
it eliminates the need for the village to have to intervene legally so that when a developer comes in and takes a large parcel and breaks it up, the low-cost solution is to put in a gravel road that requires constant maintenance, basically, compared to a public road which is built to higher standards. Generally, they're asphalt anymore. So we have private roads in the village that aren't being maintained or aren't maintained well enough to keep them passable, sometimes year-round. So we have areas where property owners won't form a homeowners association, which is part of the requirement when a private road is permitted. They won't form one, so they fight and squabble over who's going to pay how much to clear the part of road that's in front of them. And the people that benefit are the ones, and the ones that generally don't pay are the ones closer to the main road because the other people have to go by there anyway. So it's just not a good situation.
One example being that some of the property owners up on Rosie Drive, they felt that their taxes were too high and all they got was garbage pickup if it was brought out to the front because they're private roads, and they were angered because the rest of us didn't have to do that. And we have to defend the policy, but you live on a private road. We don't, your choice. But that's just one of the fights that there was.
They have to bring their garbage up to the front?
I believe, I misunderstood.
No, they did. In the beginning, there was a lot of misunderstanding about what you could do on a public road. No, we do pick, they do go back and pick them up. But it is problems like that.
Well, I understand that, but like you said, they moved, they're knowing it's a private road.
And
Other than that example that you just said, how many private roads do we have in the village? Other than them up there?
Three.
We got three. Oh,
Yeah, Porter Lane, Frederick Lane, and Rosie.
Rosie Drive.
What about the one on the south side of West Elmwood? Is that private?
No,
No.
that's just a driveway.
Okay.
And then we also have one, it doesn't have a name, but it's up by the school that runs to those buildings in the back. That's also a
next to
private.
Koski's?
Yeah,
Oh, that is a road?
That's considered a road?
Yeah, that,
it is. And
we don't want to go there. But yeah.
And that's one of the scenarios that this is trying to protect from. So this isn't necessarily to fix what's happening right now. It's for future expansion. That way we don't have this happening again. We expect the same standard of road everywhere. I mean, that's primarily what we're trying to look out for the future.
Okay.
Perfect, thank you.
All right, what is the pleasure of the council then regarding this amendment to ordinance 19, our zoning ordinance?
Did the lawyer go over this already?
Yeah, this language is the corrected language, if you would, or
This is final
the
draft.
approved language submitted to us by the attorney after the planning commission had made the recommendation.
Well, I have a problem with it. Certainly because I live on Porter Lane. Because it's the only private road that cannot be converted over to a public road now.
No, that's not true.
Frederick Lane's just it's dirt road, but it's still standard.
In order for a private road to become a public road, there are basically two criteria that the property owners would have to meet. Every property owner on a private road would have to agree that they would want to become a public road. And the public road, the village would not have to accept the public road like Porter Drive.
Which
that
they
needs-
okayed though, that ticks me off.
Yeah, well, fortunately for, it's before all of our time here, Judy, on the council.
Yeah,
But-
okay, sure.
How many houses are back there?
Do you want to stay private? Is that the idea?
No, I mean, if we wanted to go public, they would not take it unless we brought it up to code, which is thousands of dollars.
Money out of pocket, out of your pocket.
Right. Yeah,
So I understand her frustration.
which we maintain that road out of our pocket too, so if everybody else goes public, we still pay village taxes and have to maintain that road, even though we pay taxes like everybody else does.
Well, public roads do increase the amount of money that the village would get for Act 51 gas tax. So, public roads pay their way. Private roads are...
Not necessarily if they're a local road, we
Yeah.
don't get much money for that money, they don't
Right.
maintain.
But they do...
Get
pay-
some money.
They do pay for
So
the
just
majority of their...
for me, because I don't live on Porter Lake, what are you paying per year to maintain versus what would it cost to bring it up to standard?
Oh,
I mean,
There's-
I'm
we'd
just,
have to bring tons of fill in there because there's water over that road constantly.
okay.
It's an awful road.
Not-
We've had
not
as
in
much
spring.
as 24 inches of water over that road that we've had to drive through, yes. There's a drainage ditch back there which needs to be cleaned out, so we
That's-
won't go there either.
Well, that's the head of the Leonard drain is just south of Porter Drive. And if it doesn't flow, then the water backs
I
up.
know those people always have water. I don't know their names. They look fairly new.
Yeah, down that
Last house.
There's
So it's
swamp
gotta
area
come
down
from
there.
someplace over there, I'm guessing.
And she's just the other side.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, I mean, sometimes it can be real challenging living back there, especially if you don't have a four-wheel drive. I could go like this and touch my hand into the water when I've driven
I've
through
lived
it.
on a public road for years, and most of the time we lived there, we fought water.
Yeah, I got oceanfront property.
I'm telling you.
Welcome to Leonard.
I've had people fishing in our lake there.
Pretty much, every year.
I know.
And then in our downstairs.
So-
Yeah, I told you.
So I'm not happy about this.
Okay.
And the backup don't
So,
work. It's a pool.
As has been stated, the intent of the amendment isn't to address existing problems per se, but to try and eliminate the need to have to revisit those same problems with new development. So, along with the planning commission, I would recommend that the village adopt the amendment to private roads.
Nobody wants to speak?
I was curious. I'd like to make a motion to adopt the ordinance for the private roads.
That would ordinance number 1 of 2018
Yes,
would be the proper,
okay. I'd like to make a motion to adopt ordinance number 1 of 2018
as
as proposed in this final draft.
Good job.
Was that the second I heard, Larry?
Yeah.
Okay. All right,
Do you want a roll call on that?
we have a motion and a support. Are there any questions on the motion? Anything anybody wants to clarify? If not, we'll have a roll call.
The only thing I was wondering before the roll call, if these people wanted to go public, they would have to come to us to do this, but they would have to have their road in pretty much perfect order,
Well,
like Judy down there.
it
they
would
have
be
to haul
at the
all kinds
risk of
gravel and
opening,
stuff.
at the risk of opening a door, I think it would have to be handled on a case-by-case basis, and what happened, and I don't know that the village doesn't want to inherit problems.
Yeah.
So there's probably something that could be worked out in most cases, but do you think all 4 homeowners would want to go public road?
No, it costs us too much down there, it's only.
No, I'm saying,
They're all filthy rich.
I mean the intent.
Right.
I mean, the idea of being a public road,
I don't think that would be an issue down there.
it's never been discussed. We tried with Rosie Drive at one point.
Yeah,
They didn't want any part of it.
some of them did, some of them did, some of them didn't. So
It's gotta be everybody.
it's gotta be 100%.
Okay, so can we have a roll call then for the amendment to ordinance 19 regarding public roads?
President McDonald?
Yes.
Trustee Southerby? Yes. Trustee Hoffman?
Yes.
Trustee Kennedy?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, very good. Moving on. Council, you received intergovernmental agreement for contracted services with NODA. NODA is the North Oakland Transportation Authority. This is a renewal of an existing contract that we have that expires this year. In fact, it's probably expired as of January 1st. And this would be for a period of 10 years. And aside from some typographical errors, it's not a charter township of Addison. It closely mirrors the existing agreement. So NODA has asked that we review it and approve it at this time because there are no substantial changes. The village is a party to the contract, but the main signatories is Addison Township, Charter Township of Orion, and the Charter Township of Oxford. The village does not have a millage for transportation. We get our transportation because as a village, all of our residents are members of the township. So we're entitled to the transportation because we pay the township tax for that. So that said, are there any questions on the contract? Or I should say agreement. If none, a motion to authorize the village president to sign the agreement would be in order.
So, ordered.
A motion?
Yes.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Alex. Okay, so we have a motion and a second. Are there any questions on the motion or on the agreement? Okay, hearing none, then we'll have a roll call vote for approval of the intergovernmental agreement with NODA, subject to some minor typo corrections.
Okay, trustee Southerby, yes. Trustee Hoffman?
Yes.
Trustee Kennedy?
Yes.
President McDonald?
Yes. Very good, thank you. Okay, next item on the agenda is the mileage rate for officials of the village that use their vehicle for transportation purposes, the reimbursement amount per mile. I know I've got it here somewhere.
54 and a half cents.
Yeah.
64 and a half cents.
54.
54.
64 would be nice.
Oh, that
Okay.
54 is pretty good.
So that's up 1 cent from the rate for last year. So what is the desire of the council? We want to approve the new mileage rate per the federal standards? Or per IRS standards, I guess?
Yeah, I'd like to make a motion that the village follow the IRS standard rates for mileage reimbursement for 2018.
I'll support that motion. Oops. Is there any question on the motion?
Just a question. In order to use that Does the trustee need to submit their miles? Okay.
Yeah, just a simple statement of the date or
I have a
dates,
form too.
the time.
If you want a form to fill out.
I go all the time for us.
So,
I'll give you a couple of forms.
that's, are there any questions on the motion? Hearing none, can we have a roll call, please, for them?
Trustee Kennedy?
Yes.
President McDonald?
Yes.
Trustee Sotheby? Yes. Trustee Hoffman?
Yep. Okay. Moving on to old business, the 2018-2019 village budget. Council received a copy of the budget that was provided last month for your review. If there are any suggestions or changes desired at this time, now would be a good time. And then before we leave this topic, we need to set a public hearing and truth and taxation advertisement for February for adoption. Are there any questions on the proposed budget? Okay, hearing none then, could we have a motion then to set the truth and taxation and budget hearing for our February 12th, 2018 regular meeting?
I so moved.
Is there support?
I'll support it.
Very often. Are there any questions on the motion? Hearing none, all in favor of the motion to set the truth and taxation and budget hearing for the village council February 12th, 2018 meeting, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, please say no. That passed. This final item under old business is a repeat of last month where Oxford Cable TV is asking for the support of the member communities to contact our representatives regarding Senate Bill, what is it, 637? Yeah, 637. Basically, the bill takes away or circumvents many local regulations that protect the public via the use of the right-of-ways. The right-of-ways are often owned by the property owner, but they are allowed to be used for transmission of the electricity, cable, whatever. This bill would make it easier for cellular companies, telecommunication companies, et cetera, to put any devices in any use that they want to use on other people's property. That's the bottom line. And according to the communication from the Cable Commission, some of the equipment is quite large. So if you think you're used to those small boxes that Michigan Bell puts on the ground, these are considerably larger, and they would be able to put them basically wherever they wanted to put them.
They said they were refrigerator size.
So I think that's why it would be good for the village to weigh in on this officially. And I would offer that if council approves it, I will draft a resolution of opposition to the Senate Bill 637 and send it off to our federal representatives and state representatives. That would have to be done by motion. Is that you, Larry?
Sir, yes.
Larry made the motion. Is there support?
I'll second.
Any questions on the motion? Basically, the village president is authorized to draft and send a resolution of opposition regarding Senate Bill 637 to the local representatives. If there are no further questions, then all in favor of the motion of opposition, please say aye.
Aye.
Sorry.
Opposed?
Thinking.
Opposed? Opposed? Hearing none, motion carries. Okay. DPW,
Hey, Mike, I got a question for, are you guys approving, are you motioning to approve it or not to approve it?
not to approve.
The
We're trying to
approval
make-
is for the president to be authorized to send a letter of disapproval.
To disapprove, oh, okay, because I don't know if we were approving it or disapproving it. I knew that we were in motion to talk about it, but I didn't.
So a motion, it's for opposition to Senate Bill 637, which is proposing to remove many of the current regulations that require telecommunications companies, transmission companies to work with the local community zoning, et cetera. Naturally, big companies find that an onerous task to have to approach every property owner and say, we want to do this, and then you get to say yes or no. So this is another way to try and eliminate that opposition, and that's why I recommend opposition to it.
Another part of that, when you have cable, if you're a subscriber, a portion of your bill comes back to the village. If you shop online, a portion of that comes back to the village. If this is taken over, then the companies, like AT&T or whoever, they can report monies back to the communities if they choose. We will not have any say about it, and we won't know how much money they actually take in. Whereas now they send a report to the village, to Oxford, to wherever, so they know how much funds are going through their community. If this bill is passed, then they don't have to do that reporting. And in reporting they do, you just simply have to accept as being factual when it may in fact not be.
So if we oppose it here, it's not gonna matter if everybody else passes it.
True.
Well, it's, the legislature is the one that can make the changes.
It's not the communities.
I don't have faith in any of them, unfortunately.
Ouch.
I'm talking though.
I know, I'm kidding. Okay.
That's why very much keep an eye on.
Yeah, I know, and I appreciate it. Somebody has to. Okay, moving on to DPW. Council, the truck broke down again. I think we put $400 or $500 in it again in December. Hopefully Don says, you know, he's keeping it together as best he can. Moving on then to the President's report. We did not receive any Freedom of Information Act reports, although the legislature in its infinite wisdom has made, there was a Attorney General a memorandum on Freedom of Information requests that kind of changes the game for some local communities, fortunately not us. But hopefully that won't be a factor in increase the amount of time and cost that it takes to deal with these. Block grant, we did finish the repairs on the roof on Division Street. Property owner, homeowner is very happy, very pleased, and it does look like it was a good job. In ordinance enforcement, we've dealt with one situation. The building inspector is still working on the other two. He said he didn't have time over the holidays to address it, so it goes. Okay.
Who's our building inspector? Is it still walking?
No, Tim Hollis is his name.
Okay.
He's been here since 2008.
Oh,
Yeah.
oops.
Okay.
I'm really busy.
Summer Festival Committee?
Our first meeting is next Monday.
Right. At 6:30
Yeah.
here.
I need to have a meeting with you beforehand.
Okay. Now?
No,
Okay.
before Thursday, because I'm not going to be available after Thursday, till Monday.
So if I make it to Thursday, then we don't have to. No, that sounds good. Give me a call, Phyllis, and let me know.
I'll have to get together with you Tuesday or Wednesday. Just so.
Well, I have meetings Wednesday, right after work, so if we can do it tomorrow, that would be.
Okay.
Thank you. Okay, Cable Commission.
They haven't met, they
Okay.
don't. That's always fun.
Okay. Decorating committee?
Well, we had the tree lighting and it was fair. We need more help. If anybody wants to get on the decorating committee, contact Kay Olson. We do need more help. But it could be better. Pardon me?
To decorate what? For Christmas?
No, just
We do
Just
small,
for anything.
year round.
Christmas decorations are sad.
Yeah.
well, we discussed this briefly at the last meeting,
Yes, we
but
did. I know.
We don't have the equipment to hang them anymore because the OSHA says we can't do it.
What the rest of the villages do? They're
They
all
go,
decked
they go
out.
buy equipment.
they have fork trucks and cages and stuff that the men can work from.
Does the fire department charge to do that?
No, but they only do the one.
Yeah.
That's the only one they can do.
And that is,
And that's basically, they do that as a consideration for putting up a banner for the Strawberry Festival, for the Fireman's Strawberry Festival.
as far as I'm concerned, you can leave that one off. I think that is the ugliest thing.
Opinions vary.
If anybody of you picked it out, I don't know.
Opinions vary, okay. Okay,
They said it.
moving on to NODA. Well, the big news is what we took care of tonight. I expect that all the communities will get signed up for the future. And I do understand that not Addison, but Oxford and Orion Townships will be going back to the voters again in 2018 to renew the millage that was voted in a couple years ago. So, Planning Commission, I don't think we have anything, do we, Judy?
There's nothing going, are they gonna meet, you know?
I probably should try to contact the chair.
I'll find out.
Yeah. If not, we can cancel. Pollyant Trail, it's pretty quiet on the trails this time of year. The next meeting is next Wednesday at, I think it's at Lake Orion. But you can check the meeting schedules for that.
Mike? Donnie said you let him plow that last year, the paved part, is he still able to do it
He did it this year.
He did it once?
Yeah.
Okay.
So you want it again?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
I gotta have some place to walk.
I
The road's
understand.
kind of dangerous.
I understand. Yeah, we'll get on it.
Kidding me.
The village still, in lieu of paying dollars, the village does a lot of DPW type activity, maintaining the trailhead, the wells, the trail itself, so that the plowing it is part of that. We can write that off against that. So
Okay.
it doesn't
That would be
cost-
nice.
It doesn't cost the village more to do that.
Can you go down to?
No. Give them an inch. She wants a mile.
I'd never walk that, I'd never make it. To the pond there, I think, guy's house would be good. I could make it that far.
Okay, Village Park. I don't think we have anything this month, do we, Mike?
I did look at the
Yeah.
board, but I don't think so. Looks like the deer are enjoying it anyway.
Yeah, there have been some in there, and when I go to work in the morning, they're in there.
We need more
There.
members too.
You leave them alone.
We're feeding them, what are you talking about?
So are we.
We all are, whether we want to or not.
Okay, community development, everybody got the report, I believe. And Judy, we have money allocated for youth activities, is that still current? And have we not dispersed it yet?
Right, it's a
another
whole
story?
different ballgame. There's a lot of,
But are we going to do that?
maybe.
Okay, I'd
Because
appreciate.
there's lots of things you can and can't do.
Okay.
So, you know, it's typical of
Okay,
community
well,
black
I'd
rabbit.
like to follow up on that so we don't get too far behind. Okay, Mike.
Okay.
Okay. Let's see, looks like we got NODA on there again as a repeat. And the Historical Study Committee, we haven't done much. So, we did pass the resolution last month to support tax credits for historical resolutions, and those did go out, I assume, so hopefully we'll hear something on that soon. I have nothing further. Does any council member? Anybody else? If none, motion to adjourn would be in order.
7:45.
At 7:45.
I so move.
All in favor? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay.